So, isn't it amazing that we have 50 days of Easter and you may want to use all of these wonderful recordings that we have of previous talks? That might help you to guide you or to um, walk with you during these 50 next days in celebrating the transformation, the renewal within you. Both Ottawa and Kitchener have video libraries, and you just check out on YouTube for recent Sundays or even those from long ago. And that brings me to today's talk. We have Reverend C. And many of you would say, well, what else can we know about Rev C? I want to introduce her as an amazing woman, the amazing woman that she is. She has a rich background that, her demeanor is so down to earth and she's so open and so common, in her ways and her demeanor that you often not realize the rich background that she has in her spiritual studies and her spiritual growth. It is tremendous work. And she also has a lot of talents that we might not be aware of because she's not one to boast, but she is a wonderful musician. I think that she has a lovely voice as a singer, and she's also an author. She already has 5 marvelous books out there, and she's working on a few more. She is definitely someone that is encompassing what love is. She is love. She is loved. And her credo is around love. She definitely is a loving spouse. I am so blessed for that. And the one thing I love about Rev C is that when she sets her heart on something, she manifests it and it realizes. And to be in that field of energy is helping me, and I know many others around her, to do tremendous things because she makes it look quite easy. And for that, we are so grateful. The one thing she reminded me to talk about was bring a pen and a paper if you don't already do so. I know some of you always have your pen and paper handy, but when we have these services, these mini lessons that we're getting, something might trigger or might bring you a aha moment that you want to be able to dot down. Because as you then do your spiritual practice, your individual practice during the week, you can look back on some of these things and say, oh, that's what I need right now. So I invite you to have pen and paper handy, and I welcome Rev C.
Thanks. And that's wonderful. Only a partner could give an intro like that. I'm just going to go hide right now. So anyway, that's very sweet. So, wow. Happy Easter, everybody. I'm so happy to be with you today. And I wore my special daffodil dress just to celebrate Easter in the spring. So I'm so grateful to be with you and to ignite a renewal, a new you, a resurrected you in the coming months. And we've just had the 40 days of Lent, which Anne noted. And it's a time preparing for the new season ahead by extrapolating the old and giving up ideas or experiences and things that we don't need to carry anymore, things that we don't really want, but we hold on to them from habit. So we've been allowing ourselves to let go of things we no longer need. So it's really a time that, if you think about it, it's a time of sowing seeds. You have this great, great now garden ready to be sown with seeds of possibility. After all, when you release, you're creating this fertile ground for your own growth. So Sharon Salzberg, she's a Buddhist teacher, and she taught a practice of loving kindness. And it was all about sowing new seeds. And she would say, imagine yourself in a field with the fresh earth, and you just take one seed at a time from your little bag, and you put one seed down at a time, and you talk to every person that you love, and you say, may you be happy. And then you take your next seed, may you be healthy. You take your next seed, may you be kind. You take your next seed and say, may you be at peace. And these are things that we can do for ourselves, and these are things that we can do for our family and our friends. It's a wonderful, loving kindness practice. So, this time is also a time for planting our dreams, dream building for our future. What is it that you intend in the spring and the summer and the fall ahead? You can welcome it through today because you're planting those seeds today. And it doesn't matter how old we always have the choice to sow new seeds and really embrace flourishing from where we are today, moving wholeheartedly into the new growth. For instance, my goal this year is to sow some new seeds of new spiritual friendships and reinvigorating or resurrecting old friendships. And so Anne and I are taking some trips this year. We're going to go meet some new friends, and we're going to go see some old friends. We're going to head down to my hometown area of Hamilton, that whole region, and see old friends and family. And then we're going to look forward to heading over, hopefully, to Moncton this year and connect to some newer friends. And also, my dream is to go to Charlottetown. I haven't been there yet, so we'll head there as well. So my question to you is, what are you sowing this spring? What are your plans? Do you have some ambitions you want to move forward with? Just take a moment and consider at least one thing that you want to sow this year to give you some renewal, to resurrect something within you. Just allow that to come forward in you. My mom, she had her own sowing of possibilities this year already. She's 81, and she decided that after 30 years of sharing a car, she was going to get her own car. She's at that point in life, it's like, no, I'm an independent woman. This is what I'm going to do. So she heads on out to Buckingham with my brother, and she bought herself a funky new Corolla. It's got a sunroof, heated seats, heated steering wheel, big GPS with a stereo surround. She's a very happy woman. She sowed her seeds. And just to note, this isn't about having something. This is really about creating independence. It's about adventure. It's about unfolding the consciousness to see herself in new ways and to celebrate life's journey from a different perspective and in a different car. She's expressing her fearlessness. And this is what I love about my mom. She's a very fearless lady. And this is why she never lets me help her with anything, because she's always doing it herself. So overall, it's exciting to release old ways and begin anew, to feel liberated, to feel enthusiastic about life. At Easter, we hear of bunnies and we hear of eggs and kites of many colors. And I used to get kite or a ball every Easter. And so we got to play it on the street before grandma would come for dinner. And we get through this time of focusing on something other than the crucifixion that we heard so much about. Because of this event, we have learned that we can find new ways to renew our life, to resurrect our life. And essentially, a lot of us are looking for a new consciousness, a new way of seeing the world, releasing the earthly attachments. That's what Jesus did. He released his earthly attachments, and then he entered a state of consciousness called the Christ. It's a state of awareness that is without earthly attachments. So I want to quote something for you. So a friend and colleague of mine, Reverend Maggie Alderman, is the Sun Unity Director. And we now call that the Unity Prayer Ministries. And she had this wonderful quote recently I want to share with you. She said, the last act in Jesus' ministry was to teach us through personal demonstration, what it truly means to be born anew. And he did so by leaving us a blueprint, a pattern that reveals the cycle of evolution in consciousness and its expression. So I'm just going to quote from Luke 9:22. The Son of Man must undergo great suffering and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed on the third day to be raised. So Maggie continues to say, in other words, we are to expect our divine expression in human form to evolve and be raised up again and again and again. We will outgrow the old ideas and institutions that once defined us and served us, but we will disrupt our own status quo in search of a deeper understanding of the truth of us. Where do we come from? And when we do, it may feel as if we've lost everything, as if we are alone in the darkness of an isolated tomb. I love that because this is a reflection on the story that we hear every year at Easter. We too sometimes feel we are in the darkness of a tomb. We know the story of our way shower Jesus. He was crucified for bringing knowledge to the world, for bringing the good news about love and life after death to help us feel safe and secure, through which he also taught us that we're not alone ever, and that in fact we are light, and that we are one with this divine nature, this loving source, the divine aspect in each of us. And he called that the Father within. And he affirmed that all people could do even greater things than he could do. And a lot of that involved helping others. I see a lot of unity in the story of Jesus. We talk about these aspects of our divinity, the way he expressed them to us. He was the original New Thought leader. His teachings brought us to a time when, for instance, in the 1850s, we let go more and more of the Christian identity and started learning more about what did Jesus really say. It was the beginning of letting go of those ideals and really unfolding his teachings. And it was a spiritual revolution in the 1800s from which unity came in the 1880s and took flight in 1889. He lived to tell us that we are powerful beings, capable of making a difference in this lifetime. And we carry the aspects of the divine just like him. Therefore, we are inherently good, and we are able to love and to forgive and to treat others with great care and respect as we treat ourselves. And sometimes, though, I go back through the story and I'm reminded of things that really don't feel good about today and about life generally. Because even with all the good that Jesus did, he showed us through life another side of humanity that we might not like, that it's not that uncommon for humans to do injury to other humans and to animals. And we know that other humans crucified him for his goodness, for his expression of love, for his miracles, for standing out for what's right. And this is merely one example of the countless individuals who have been crucified for doing good, for helping others. People like Gandhi, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, Medgar Evers, Robert Kennedy, Malcolm X, the Apostle Paul, Joan of Arc, the Apostles Stephen, Peter, and James, women tortured and beaten because they were seeking the right to vote. People trying to heal others and help people burned at the stake called witches for helping to help people live, to up-level society. People doing good, and look what we did to them. And in small ways, you and I have had those experiences in our lives. You do something good, and someone sees their mirror in your behavior and doesn't want to see their newness, their changes, their refreshingness. So they push you back. What they will do is make up an inner story that you're the problem because now you're asking them to change, you're asking them to grow up. They might even be cruel because you're trying to make a positive difference. But that would mean that they would actually have to grow. They'd have to change. And unfortunately, change is a nasty word for a lot of people. So we get judged and blamed when we try to do what's right. But you know what? We still do it because we know deep inside that that is our calling, that we are truth from within. I've often wondered, though, why don't people want to change, want to grow? And I read this really, really interesting quote the other day, and it said, God did not call us to be liked. God called us to be light, and light, by its very nature, makes darkness uncomfortable. That says a lot. Many people are the same today as they were in the time of Jesus, fully unavailable to making positive changes for the good of themselves, their family, and certainly not for humanity. You just have to look at the wars right now with the bombs, the behaviors, the cruelty, the arrogance, and the absolute ignorance that is perpetuating these wars and these trials, the starvation of people, the hatred towards them. People hate change. They love staying the same. And staying the same makes no sense because staying the same is harder work than growth. It's like standing still in the middle of a storm and trying not to move. You're going to be thrown about. Wouldn't it be nice just to move with the flow of life, to listen and to feel what growth is, to feel what it means to evolve? Wouldn't it be nice to be renewed and resurrect something divine through you to bring some healing and bring something back to this mad world we're in right now? Just bring some of that love, bring some renewal and resurrection for the world around you. The thing is, we have to be cautious when we are changing. And if we feel forced to change, see, that's when we get judgmental. That's when we blame others for moving us, expecting us to move our mountains. Well, we're just going to throw it back at them again. We're going to judge and blame them, but we've got to stop that. We've got to be interested in growth, in evolving the greatest Christ nature within each of us. Don't judge somebody else for your growth and development. Take it in stride and trust this is the way. We are here to grow. We're here to transform, just like Jesus did. He transformed, he resurrected right into the Christ state of consciousness. And we can live doing that now. We don't have to wait for the big fall to do that. Excuse me. When people persist in old ideas, good things have trouble surviving. People are being told that their truth insights, their truth is wrong. Really? So they get held back, especially now by large corporations and government. We're being held back. Truth is being held back. You can see that. Some people cannot accept the richness of each person, and they would do everything they can to stop it for their own financial gain. We can go as far back as even, well, not that far back. Free energy. Free energy was going to be brought to humanity by Nikola Tesla. But because some people chose to see profit over the value of up-leveling humanity, Westinghouse, for instance, stepped in and took away all his funding. And they got rid of free energy. You know why? Because they wanted to sell that energy and make billions of dollars. Tesla was a man He was living his truth, but he died alone, broke, in a hotel room, utterly spent and broken, because his truth, his goodness could not be received. And he didn't have time to be resurrected like Jesus did. He certainly wasn't trained in the same way. And it matters to be trained. It matters to know how to pray, to meditate, to be objective, and to review your life every day. Even decades later, Tesla's name is still being used to make money for others. That breaks my heart. It's just silly. Now, wise people like Tesla and Jesus have not been well received by larger society. But we know what that can feel like in small ways, because if you're a woman, you know what it's like to try to thrive in a man's world. You know that. You know, if you're gay, that what it's like to try and thrive in a family or in a small community of friends. Or if you're a person who's of a different color or of a different language, you know how hard it can be to be accepted. And maybe you just have a different opinion than someone else. But everybody expects you to be the same. But there's billions of people. How can we possibly be the same? Yet we do this all the time. Even us at Unity, we do this. The good news is we catch ourselves and we stop that flow. We stop engaging in negative, low energy activities because we live the Christ we know. We choose to remind ourselves every day to do that. And I know it's hard to grow, and I know that change can be an upheaval to all of us, but it is so important. Even now, I'm sure every one of you has done something in your family to help them grow, to help up level your experience at home, because of your awareness of living in the Christ nature, of being someone who focuses on the truth within. I have a friend just like that. I call her my other mother. She's 88 years old. She's fabulous. Long ago, she would walk out into the community in the 50s and 60s with her Trinidadian husband. She's a little white Scottish gal. This was not well received in the 50s and 60s in Ottawa, but she lived her truth anyways. She told me some time ago that she knew the only one other couple that went public with their biracial union in those times. She even had a cross placed on her lawn and set on fire. But she persisted. Her strength and commitment to live her way, the way of truth, the way of the goodness from within her, her big heart, her big love, changed other people. This is what we have to do. We have to be willing to live our truth, and it will change other people. I find it very interesting that her mom was a Swedenborgian. And if you know Unity's history, you know that we are connected through a tributary to the Swedenborgian religion, which is all about equality for all beings. So let's look a little deeper into the interpretation of the Easter story. We hear in the Easter story about Jesus, about dying on a cross and being resurrected 3 days later. And that unity resurrection is interpreted, and it's not seen as a fact. We use a metaphysical lens for our interpretation, and we see this time of pausing between his death and rebirth as a time of our awakening, a time of evolving through turmoil, through pain and suffering, even going beyond passion and moving into a whole new, remarkable possibility, our awakening. At Unity, in our thought work, resurrection is understood not merely as a physical event, but as the continual awakening and renewal of our openness to greater consciousness. And if you spend time with this, you're going to see the significant awakening that you have within you to bring out into the world. Awakening is always available. It's right there, waiting to happen. The consciousness is fully there. You have to just break open the doors and allow it to be seen, to be noted. It's waiting to renew you, to resurrect you in each moment. Even now, you could start off with one change, one thought change, because it's our thoughts that will change and help begin the process of renewal, the process of resurrection in us. You could say, even if you're feeling kind of weak and tired, today is a good day. That's a new thought. That's a renewed statement. That will help to resurrect you. Or you might say something like, good things will come today, or good things come to me every day. These are ways you can talk to yourself. Or, I've got this. When it's tough, you just, I've got this. Or, I just need a little more time and I'm going to make this happen. Or you can believe it has happened. It's up to you, because new thoughts revitalize us. They renew us so we can have our resurrection. It's your decision. Sometimes we do have to change a little to make these things happen. So resurrection really comes out of our realization of the Christ. The Christ is a state of consciousness and of experience. And it's that soft, loving, and compassionate action space within each of us. Our divine presence expressed through us, and it uplifts us. It uplifts our mind, our body, and our spirit into wholeness. And we align with this, with the divine light, and suddenly we light up and we are welcomed into the world with greater care. Resurrection reflects the ongoing opportunity to rise above our limitations, to go beyond our fears, to release those old patterns and really embrace spiritual rebirth, healing, and transformation. So as a reminder, we use our affirmative prayers, our affirmative thinking, and our practical principles and powers and our deep meditations, and we resurrect slowly. And we start to feel happier in life. We start to feel more loving. We start to feel more loved. And then we become part of that harmonizing agency that supports the healing of this world. Yes, we can all be resurrected. We might decide for the first time as we move forward that today I'm going to be really kind to my really, really grumpy neighbor. We might find that when we're resurrecting and renewing ourselves, that now, you know what? I don't need to take walks with somebody else every day. I can walk alone. I feel really good about me. And I feel safe and secure inside me. And that is what you will bring to you. We might finally say to someone who we've always said yes to avoid conflict, today we might say no. I'm not going to spiritually bypass this. We're going to say no. And we're going to use our words wisely, and we're going to express the truth. For a long time, I've been saying yes, but truly, it does not make me happy. We resurrect in so many different ways. But ultimately, if you go into the silence, you'll feel that as you start to fall into that spaciousness, that something magical is happening. And that resurrection, that renewal is taking over with no effort. And when you're done that deep silent state, you feel like you are on solid ground. And man, those planting of seeds are going to flourish for you. Charles Fillmore said, and he's the co-founder of Unity, resurrection is the lifting up of the whole person, the spirit, the soul, and the body into the Christ consciousness of life and wholeness. I have to say, I just tingle at that one. I love these quotes that I always get from Myrtle and Charles they uplift me. How many of you can feel a point at which you say, yes, I resurrected at that moment. That was my time. And I want to take this into fellowship later. What was your point of resurrection? I know mine, and I know my spouse's. I know each of us has a point of resurrection. And I ask you, can you be willing just to fall if necessary, a little, and trust that you'll be resurrected as you get up from that fall? And I ask you, can you be willing to cry if you need to, trusting that your eyes will be wiped dry again so that you can see more clearly, and then share your new vision of you with others into your future? And can you be willing, if necessary, just to yell out loud into the world, here's who I am, trusting that your voice, you may go hoarse for a while, but it will be renewed with a new voice and a new style and a new way of living into this world. We can fall and we can get up. We're going to fall, we're going to get up, and it's going to be okay. We always have help. We're not alone. That's the grace of being at unity. There's a divine source within each of us and around us in each moment. And there's a wisdom. If you tap into this and you know it's there, there's a wisdom that is always there to carry us if necessary, or to scoot us along, or surround us with big hugs as we go out there to make our change. We have to have faith. Faith now is part of resurrection. Jesus allowed himself to die. He knew he was going to die. He could have ran that other way, but he knew. He had faith there was something bigger and greater in this world for him to go through for all of us. At Unity, we trust that there's a divine essence within each of us that will support us. This essence or substance, we call it divine mind, right? Unity calls God divine mind. And if you've been listening to me over the years, you know I have absolute faith in this divine mind, this great source. I know it upholds us. I know it's always there. And I know it will still me. It will still me, keep me sometimes just seated still because I have no energy for anything else even. It will still me so that I can bring through extraordinary information, support tools, love and passion for something so that I can make a difference in this world. Do you have that faith in you? I hope you do. I truly hope you do, because I know each of you is blessed. Again, my guy, Charles, he said, man is a radiating center of divine life, and the power of renewal is within him. He can quicken and restore every atom of his being. And sometimes we need a little help along the way. So you can just talk to that divine nature within you and say, I need your help. Today's my day to ask for help. I need to be uplifted. I need your help to renew me, to resurrect me. And that help is there. Even if you didn't ask, it would be there. But it's always kind of fun to notice where you're getting that help. So resurrection is really about evolving our consciousness. Although right now it might appear that the world community isn't doing very good in this whole resurrecting consciousness thing. We have evolved because we have a United Nations now. We have a World Food Bank. We have PETA for the protection of animals and the World Humane Society. We have all sorts of standards, and we're still trying to release the layers of the onion around those who don't see the goodness of all. We will not fail at this. We will not fail. It's happening. Just pay attention. It's happening everywhere right now. So instead of blocking the world around us during difficult times, we're going to need to forgive those people who are making the messes right now and who are also affecting us. Because we can live through this to bring out the best in all people and in you and me. We can be resurrected. We're able to do whatever we need to do because we are powerful. And this is about you evolving your Christ nature. Jesus did that. He's a good guy. And his journey was exemplified not only by forgiveness, but the light that arose from him as he literally resurrected. If you believe that, I actually do, but I also believe in the metaphysical. We can perceive this as a light that is the beacon of hope. The example of living beyond the stuckness of our bodies, of our communities, of our thinking, and use the light of our divine wisdom to propel us forward. We can bring through that Christ and walk in different directions in the best way possible, releasing old attachments, changing our thoughts to live our third and fifth principle at Unity, which are change your thoughts and then act on them. Act on those good thoughts, those Christ nature thoughts. We call those the divine ideas. The co-founder Myrtle Fillmore said, we can begin now to rise into a higher life. Every thought of praise, every prayer, every affirmation of truth is part of our resurrection. And she's so right. Today can be the first day of your renewal, of your resurrected life. With that attitude, there can only be an accumulation of better, of lightheartedness, of happiness, of gratefulness, of emphasizing what is good. Let go of the tiredness and pain. Just emphasize what is good. Resurrection can happen right now with your first new thought of good. The good of you, the good of your neighbor, the good within you, and because of you. So I'm going to ask you today to come forward with one thing, one aspect of you that you would like to resurrect. What is going to be your renewal this week, your resurrection today? You are already great inside. Can you bring this forward? With this in mind, take a slow, deep breath, and we're going to join together in meditation. Thank you. So now taking a slow, deep breath, imagine yourself somewhere pleasant and warm and inviting, somewhere you know you'll be safe. Not around other people, but alone, feeling safe with the divine within, feeling and knowing that you have the wisdom within you to manage any situation. Take a moment to gently breathe in and out in the awareness of now. With each breath, feeling it go down through into your lungs, and then hold for a second, and then release and allow the old out. And seated comfortably, I ask you to place one hand on your chest and one hand on your abdomen, and remind yourself that you are happily seated in your body ready to receive the necessary guidance to bring through your living Christ, to renew and resurrect you today. Please say to yourself, I am renewed and I am resurrected. Again, just say to yourself, I am renewed and I am resurrected. I can feel the divine nature within me. I am more and more fully awake and abundantly refreshed as I remind myself of who I really am, this divine nature. I am fully renewed and fully resurrected. I am alive and well, trusting that what I need to know to support me in my new resurrection will come to me today and tomorrow and tomorrow, and help me to fulfill my life's goals and dreams, showing me new ways for this to occur with ease. I now see before me a bubble of light that is getting brighter and brighter. It's getting larger and larger. And as I breathe in gently and slowly, I see that this light is now coming to me and surrounding me, loving me wholly. And as I'm surrounded in this brilliant light, I feel remarkable. I feel glorious. I feel blessed. I am fully alive and completely safe. I feel happiness welling up in me and the joy that is starting to come through. I allow more and more. This light is my home. It is around me as much as it is within me in each moment. I now see myself and feel myself smiling. I have forgiven anyone in the way of my renewal and my resurrection. I am supported and wholly guided to use my divinity to make the changes that I need and live the awakenings that I am intended to fulfill today, this week, this month, and this year. Breathing in, I am gratefulness. Breathing in, I am happiness. Breathing in, I am gratefulness. Breathing in, I am happiness. Breathing in, I am gratefulness. Thank you, loving source, for helping me to unfold my Christ nature with love and grace. And so it is.